Welcome to the channel. This is a fix-it video. The last time we were away, the electric water heater element on the Truma Ultrastore water heater packed in. So that's what I'll be changing today. In a nutshell, when we arrive on site, I fill the 10-litre water storage tank up and then switch the electric water heater on low, and it stays on low the whole holiday. And then when we're using the shower, I turn the electric water heater on high and then turn the gas water heater on high, and that's dual fuel heating. It heats the water up quicker. And when we finish showering, turn the gas off and then turn the electric back to low. What we had to do on the last holiday is rely on gas alone for water heating. We had plenty of water, but it just took longer for the water to heat up. What I've got here is a brand new element. Comes with instructions, 4 new nuts and a new O-ring, and it's a 1300 watt. You can get 850 watt elements, a single element, which comes with 1 cable. But this has got a second cable because it's switchable from low to high. I'll show you the parts in a bit more detail. 1300 watt water heater element, that's got 2 cables on it. Thermostat, you don't get the 5.5mm nuts that holds the thermostat in place, so you have to save the existing nuts. New O-ring that fits around here. And 4 7mm nuts that holds the element in place, and the instructions. If it was the 850 watt element, it would only come with this 1 black wire, the 3-core. The instructions don't give you any instructions on how to fit the element. All it is the electrical connections, and it says the 230 volt electrical connection must always be made by an expert. The instructions shown here do not constitute a request to non-experts to make the electrical connection, but serve as additional information for an expert who is employed to do the work. I've done a couple of checks at the 3-way connector, which is the end of the black wire. I've checked for power and I've got power. That's fed from this isolator switch with the cartridge fuse, so I know that's okay. The circuit breaker in the fuse box hasn't tripped, and I've checked this high and low switch, which is the 4-core cable, the grey wire, and that's working fine. You'll see the 2 plugs when I come to disconnect them. So it can only be the element. If you don't feel comfortable changing one of these, then I'd just recommend getting an auto electrician or caravan dealer or somebody who specialises in caravans. I've moved the bench cushion so I can get access to the water heater. So I'll move the camera closer in and we'll see what we can do. The element is behind here as the 2 cables. So it looks like I've got to disconnect these 2 pipes, take this top off and take the side off. So I'll get a screwdriver in these holes and prise the tabs back to get the cover off. I'll take this off. This is where the circuit board is for the gas side of the heating system. Now these pipes are push fit. I might try my HEP 2.0 pipe release tools on that. The smallest release tool I've got is for a 15mm pipe. That looks more like a 10, but I'll try it anyway. It's off. Yep. So if you can get it round this cold one. Yeah, that's off, so I can get them out of the way. And I've got to get this side cover off. I disconnect the wiring. There's these connectors. So I'll unplug the 4-way connector. And then unplug the 3-way connector. That's the 3-way connector. A little bit awkward. Weight. The 2 nuts holding the thermostat on are 5.5mm. I've got this long reach 1/4" drive socket. You don't get new nuts for the thermostat in the pack, so you've got to save these 2 nuts. The socket won't fit on that because it's so close to the thermostat. Luckily, I've got a 5.5mm open-ended spanner. Socket will fit on now. Yeah, that's gone on. I'm lucky. Change the socket for the 7mm because the 4 nuts holding the element in are 7mm nuts. That's all the nuts out, so this should pull straight out. So be careful we don't damage these wires. That's it. There's the O-ring. I'll have a quick look inside. Might want to descale. This is the difference between the old and the new. It's not done too bad to say it's used constantly when we go away for just over 9 years of caravanning. Making sure this is clean here where the O-ring sits. I don't want any leaks. I'll put the O-ring on. Right, get the element back in. I know it goes that way round because this little tag here was at the bottom left corner. trap that little cable there. I don't want to over tighten them. The old ones weren't that tight, so I'll just make them hand tight, and then when I fill it up I can check for leaks. Try and get the thermostat on. I don't want to over tighten. That looks fine. Nothing trapped. Right, got to get this. Well, I've got to get the cover back on really, because the pipes have got to go on. So the cover's got to go on first. Get the side cover back on. Thread these wires through the bottom pipe hole, so that's where they were. Just make sure these pipe ends are clean before putting the push fit fittings back on. I'll spray a bit of this Hep 2O jointing lubricant spray. It's for push fit plumbing. I'll spray it in the so the cold to the bottom, that's gone on nice and easy, and hot to the top. Yep, they've gone on nice and easy. What I've got to do now is fill the system up before I do anything else and check for leaks. Drain valves shut, then I'll make sure all the taps are shut. That's the water connected. That's the water you can hear going into the system. You can hear it filling up. I'll let the air out this hot water system. Pushing all the air out the storage tank. I should imagine all the air's out of the system now. So I'll go down there and check for any leaks. The push fit fittings are dry. What about the element? There doesn't appear to be any signs of water. So that part of the job is successful. Right, it's the electrics next. I'll do the 4-core cable. What I need to do off the old element is salvage this 4-way plug. There is an earth wire, the yellow-green, and 3 black wires, and they are numbered 1, 2, 3, and number 1 is next to the earth wire. So it's 1, 2, and then 3 is the outer one. So I need to get these pins out of this plug, because I need the plug. That's 2 out. But before I take the last one out, I need to mark that. Mark that E. 1, 2 and 3. I suppose I should have done that before I started taking them out. And that's that one. So I've managed to salvage the 4-way plug. What I've got here are crimp-on terminals. I'm doing it like this because I don't want to put it in the crimping tool and then it ruin the terminals. So to get it started, right, that's those 4 crimped on. Time to push them into the plug. So that one's the earth. Oh, I've just got to make sure these little barbs are stuck out. That's the first one. And then we want wire number 1. That's number 1. Just check that. Yeah, that's number 3. That's number 2. Push that in there. That's that one. Then number 2. Receptacle number 2. Yeah, and number 3. That's in. If you can see that. That should plug directly there. Perfect job. That one's finished. The 3-core wire to do. I did manage to get hold of one of these 3-way connector plugs. I only need that side. Right, earth goes into the middle one, holding it that way up. Barbs are stuck out. And then looking at the old one, live goes in that side. And neutral this side. That's it, done. This is the connector coming from the isolator switch, so that should plug directly into that. And put the coffin block on. cover it up with the tie wrap. That's it, that's all the electrical work. This is the specification I found on the website for the electrical connectors. So it's an L connector made by JST. They are the crimp-on terminals, male and female. This is the three-way connector, and this is the four-way connector. I left the system filled up with water overnight and there's no leaks, so that's a good sign. So as you know, the electrical work's completed. All I need to do now is try it. The power's back on, and I'm going to flick the isolator switch on. And now I'll switch it to low. Nothing's tripped. So we'll give it 10 minutes and then I'll try the tap, see if we get hot water. I've actually left it 25 minutes. In the specification it says from 15 degrees to 70 degrees. That's when it's on high, but I've got it on low. 15 to 70 degrees. On electric alone, it takes 29 minutes. But I'm going to try it on low at the moment. Yeah, that's hot. I'm going to measure the temperature of the water. $55 degrees, 56, 57. So that's spot on. What I'll do now is switch it to high. We'll give it, say, I don't know, 15 minutes. Try it, measure the temperature, and it should be reading around 70. 15 minutes has gone by. Let's get the temperature gauge. That's 19, 20 degrees. Open the tap. $67. I think we can accept 67 degrees. Possibly if I left it a little bit longer, another 5 minutes, it might have got to 70. But I'm happy at that. These are the water heat up times on the Truma website for the boiler I've got here. That's this one. From approximately 15 degrees Celsius to approximately 70 degrees Celsius. On gas alone, it'll take 31 minutes. On electric alone, 29 minutes. And in mix mode, that's electric and gas running together, 16 minutes. So the next step is just to do a final leak check. And then if everything's leak free, I can get the cover back over the boiler. I'll turn the heater off, turn the isolator off. Right, let's get back down there. No leaks. That's a good sign. Oh no, I've lost my screws. I've saved my screw on this magnetic thing. You can even open the claws. And it's got a light on the end. It's the cover first. That's it. Oh, one last job. That's the finished job. I suppose I could have cut that side panel out rather than go to the trouble of taking all this covering off. I could have cut the factory plugs off on the wiring and used chock blocks and taped them up. I think it was worth putting the extra effort into getting the cover off the boiler, and it did take a bit of getting off and putting back on, and I think it was worth the extra effort in me doing the research to get hold of the correct wiring plugs and crimp-on terminals. I think you can look at that now and say, oh, it's not been touched since it came out of the factory, so I'm highly delighted with that. So on our next holiday, we're going to be back to dual fuel water heating for a showering, so that's a good thing, and electric water heating for the everyday water use for washing pots and so on. Yeah, next holiday, Sutton-on-Sea Caravan and Motorhome Club site. So hope to see you on the next video. Bye for now.